Hey guys, came for 15, back at it with another video for you guys. And I'm back with another One Piece anime episode review for you guys, as I'll be talking about anime episodes 1106 and 1107. Craziness has ensued. We left off on a massive cliffhanger in this past week's episode, which is 107. My goodness, craziness is ensuing on Egghead when we thought, okay, we can maybe get some chillness going on, but in reality, it seems like things are turning bad for the worse. So, anyways, let's get to it. So, the first part of episode 1106 starts off with the CP agents, and they're going up against the pacifistas, the improved Seraphim pacifistas on Egghead. And basically they got to deal with the ones that are basically the Kumas that are like policemen. So that's kind of what's been going on. And they try to fire back, but none of the attacks are working. And we see how one of the Seraphim ended up doing the bubble attack and just blowing people up and everything, and it's just it's just chaos, man. I wonder, like if some of these CP agents actually like dead. Like, it was actually pretty terrifying watching this. We then cut over to Sentomaru. He's being patched up by some of the other doctors in the area on Egghead, and basically the doctors are giving him an update saying like, yeah, they escaped. The people that protected us escaped. On top of it, there's other people that are evacuating, so that's kind of the thing now. Obviously, Sentomaru, he's more worried about Luffy getting Dr. Vegapunk out of Egghead so he can get to safety. So that's kind of the thing right then and there. Now, we actually cut over to Bonney. We cut back to Bonney, and actually, I'll cut this into episode 1007. Well, excuse me, just burping on the way. Because it's kind of a little bits and pieces of the episode. So in episode 1106, Bonney after shutting the door on Vegapunk, and basically looking at this gigantic paw, something that I guess Kuma left behind. She goes in, she touches it. Next thing you know, she's in like this grasslands area. And she hears crying. And then when she hears crying, and she just hears crying, and she's hearing this kid cry, this gigantic giant of a kid just crying. Basically, as I'm watching the thing talking about like, we can't take it anymore. He's basically crying for help. And then eventually Bonney puts two and two together and realizes, oh shit, that is my father. And this is getting her very emotional because, okay, why do we have a gigantic Kuma, our child version of Kuma, crying like this? Now, cutting into episode 1007, we get a pickup of that scene. And basically that scene is as Kuma's crying out for help. One, Bonnie's reaching out saying like, hey, Kuma can't hear him because, well, it's a memory. And all of a sudden, as Kuma's crying, we have like these silhouetted figures, basically like, hey, you need to get back over here. You need to come and things like that with us. And basically Kuma's like, no, I don't want to go back there. I'd rather die than go back there again. And then you get a kind of long, drawn out, detestable scene where you're gonna have it where these silhouette figures are like, come on, you damn monster, basically, come with us. Otherwise, we're gonna die. And Kuma doesn't want to go. And he's like, I'd rather die than go back over there and things like that. And you just have it to where it's like for like the next like minute or two, you just see this kid Kuma, or Bonnie's watching this kid Kuma, literally her kid version of her father, literally get beat the hell down. Like, and honestly, the anime showed a lot. It was like, honestly, like maybe a minute 30, if not 2 minutes long. I was like, my God, this shit is dark as hell. And you just see that these dudes just beating the shit out of Kuma. Now, obviously, they weren't like, it wasn't up and close and personal. Like, they were doing it from a distance away, and you're just looking at the silhouettes happening, because I guarantee you, it probably was more gory up close. But you have these individuals beating the ever-living hell out of frickin' Bartholomew Kuma, and it's just crazy. It's getting Bonney very emotional. She tries to run over to help, but she can't. She's not doing much of anything, and if anything, she feels like she's not moving one bit closer. Now in this craziness that's ensuing, like, I guess you see it from Kuma's kid's perspective. You actually somewhat see the castles in Marijois. So you have to wonder, was he originally like doing that? And we deep cut to the present in this week's episode, where we still have it to where the Navy are shooting down Kuma as he's climbing up the red line to get to Marijois. And you're just seeing this in the flashback. Eventually, Bonney gets booted out of the said memory because she just can't take it anymore. She gets booted out, and she's literally trembling with fear because she's like, what the actual blue hell happened? What's going on here? And she's talking about how she feels like she has no confidence in like going back in there, but she knows if she wants to get the answer of what she's like obviously trying to get to, she's gonna have to go back in and continue to look through the memories. So with these two episodes, it's we know we're gonna get, it's setting up the Kuma backstory. And obviously, with anything when it comes to One Piece backstories, they never end well. If anything, they're dark, disturbing, sad, and emotional. And the crazy part is, this is only the beginning of his childhood. This is like the first part. This is what we're like seeing now. Shit, get the tissues. If you're an emotional wreck, get the tissues. Now, I've read the manga. I know the Kuma backstory. It is probably one of the more tragic backstories in all of One Piece, without giving away spoilers. But from these two episodes, with these two short scenes alone, it only gives you like a little bit of a hint, like, okay, Kuma's backstory is probably going to be massively effed up. And it's going to be emotional to the point it's going to tug at your heartstrings. I will give credit where credit's due. You know, Toei did a good job at making that beat up scene pretty disturbing. Like, I was watching this, I'm like, okay, can this shit end? Like, it's actually a pretty disturbing watch. Like, and I mean, it felt like the scene went on for a while, like at least if not 2 minutes, a minute and 30 minutes, or yeah, 1 minute and 30 seconds. My bad. It felt like it took that long till the scene finally concluded and ended. I'm like, and I'm just like, shit. And I know the Kuma backstory after reading in the manga, and it's like, oh, this probably might be I say it's the darkest backstory out of all the One Piece backstories we've ever gotten. And yes, there has been very dark backstories, but like, I think Kuma will, when you anime only fans see this, you'll see the fact that Kuma's backstory is probably going to be the number one in terms of most effed up and the darkest one out of all the One Piece backstories we've seen up until this point in the story. And it's just a bunch of craziness. So that's kind of the thing right then and there. Anyways, cutting back to episode 1006, kind of finishing some aspects on that. We get a middle part of the episode to where Luffy finally catches up and meets up with the other Straw Hats. You have it to where they're wondering if he found Vegapunk. The other satellites found if Luffy found him, and Luffy's like, dude, I don't even know where the hell the man is. You know, I looked everywhere. I even broke my freaking shoes to do it. I can't find him. And man's exhausted, especially after going Gear 5 and everything. But mostly also, too, because he was looking for Vegapunk. He's also wondering if Bonney is okay, which is nice to see that he's also worried about Bonney. So that's kind of the thing right then and there. We find out that Atlas is actually okay. She ended up getting rebuilt, so she's good and everything. But mostly the reason why the Straw Hats want to find Vegapunk immediately, and also too why the satellites want to find Vegapunk immediately, is so they can be able to get the hell out of the freaking building, and just get off Egghead. Now, you have it to where I forgot his name. Jeez Louise, not. How do I for? I might need to Google. The satellites. The satellites of Vegapunk. Shaka. Okay. So Shaka, he actually ends up saying like, well, actually about that, we can't actually really leave because the labo phase like shield is acting all weird. Like I don't have any control to try to like take it down and bring it back up and take it back down. It's weird. Something's happening. So that's the thing. Now, anyways, we have it to where Stussy's actually walking with Zoro and Brooke, who are actually in their egghead designs. And everything, and basically Sussy's like, so I did what was asked of me. Also we see it to where Kaku and Kaku and Lucci, they're with all of them, basically handcuffed. You would think they're wearing Sea Prism Stone handcuffs that won't have them break out, but you just have it to where she ends up talking to Shaka, and Shaka's like, hey, look, thank you for what you did. I know it might have been hard for you to turn on your teammates, but, you know, Stussy's like, well, it's what the Stella ordered, so I got to do what the Stella ordered, and if the Stella said to do it, well, I got to do it, as much as I may have any regrets, but it is what it is. So that's kind of thing. Shaka does says, like, look, don't get mad, but we can't find the Stella, because Stussy asked, like, okay, where is he actually? I need to talk to him. But that's when Shaka's like, don't get mad, but he's lost and we can't find him. So that's when they end up splitting into teams, and going to look for Vegapunk. You have like a team of Jinbei, Stussy, and Sanji, which I'll talk about in a bit. And I know Sanji's been getting up in the controversies again when it comes to his fantasizing, because, and actually, let me just get this shit out the way. So basically, like, since Stussy joined the crew, also too, with the fact that he sees all the Vegapunk chicks, because York is also there too, he starts simping, doing his typical Sanji stuff and everything. But when Stussy shows up, like, dude loses it. And again, you have it in this past episode where I guess you got some people just frankly annoyed by Sanji's behavior and everything, because there's like a scene in this week's episode where literally, you know, he asked to be Stussy's dog, and Stussy's like, you need to stop being silly, you little boy. And basically the Sanji pretends like he's a damn dog, and he's literally woofing and everything. And I will say it is weird. Now, it's funny. I was laughing my ass off, personally, honestly. If I'm being honest, I was laughing my ass off. It was funny comedy to me. But I can see why there are people, Sanji fans, that absolutely hate these scenes when he's, like, being very thirsty over women, and he's very, like, lovesick, like a lovesick puppy. And I can see why Sanji fans probably hate this scene in this last episode where he's legitimately acting like a damn dog, woofing and doing all these things and sticking his tongue out like that. You know, I know it's kind of been a cause for debate of the fact that Toei keeps treating Sanji like this. I think Toei's just doing this for comedic reasons. Look, at the end of the day, I have no issues. I have no problems with it. Whatever. I know what I'm getting, and maybe that's because I'm not much of a person that looks into negativity too much. When it comes to animes and things like that, like, I understand. It does get annoying after some time, and it's like, all right, can they actually make Sanji competent where he's not drooling over women 24/7 to the point he's acting like a damn dog like he was in this past episode? But like, seriously, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think Toei's just doing that for comedic purposes. But look, you got very big Sanji fans hating this shit, and they're like, can they stop with this stupid shit where Sanji is legitimately acting like a damn dog, and if anything, it's more embarrassing for the character. Because I will be honest, in the manga, they don't do this overblown stuff where he's acting this lovesick, but Toei, I guess for some reason likes to see Sanji just be this lovesick puppy, whether it's just Nami or Robin or somebody else or some other chick. So that's kind of the thing right then and there. So yeah, team split up. Another team, Pythagoras, Usopp, Frankie, York, and then Lilith are all going together along with Chopper too. No, they're in another group. I forgot what group it was, but Brooke and Chopper are in a group together. I think with Edis. No, I think Chopper's with the Vegapunk group, or the Vegapunk group with Lilith. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but Brooke and Nami, they're with Edison actually, which leads into a funny scene in episode 1107. Also forgot to mention, Nami actually sticks up for Robin. She sees obviously Kaku and Lucci's body, and she's like, Jesus, you put us through a lot of shit in Water 7, and if you're trying to get Robin again, listen, you know, you're gonna get it. And she looks like she's gonna like legitimately like hurt them even worse than what they already hurt. And Robin's like, hey, Nami, look, I appreciate the thought, I really do, but look, the thought is what counts. The thought is what counts. Thank you that you care so much, which is sweet. You know, you get a cute, sweet Robin moment right then when she smiles. I actually appreciate, we know Robin's kind of somewhat the dark one with the foreshadowing of things like that, but I do like the fact how Robin, in a weird way, I won't say like she's forgiven them, Kaku and Lucci's, for what they clearly put her through, because she almost would have literally been taken to freaking be killed if not for them. But like, I like the fact that Robin's just like, look, Nami, I understand. You guys take this shit personal to me, you know, when I was taken away by these guys. But look, I don't need you doing anything worse to these guys. You know, look, the thought is what counts. I appreciate that you guys have my back and you'll protect me no matter what. So that's it. I thought that was a nice moment. I really do think that's a nice moment. I think it's a nice moment whenever the Straw Hats, they see somebody from the Ennis Lobby arc, or Water 7 stuff, and they're just like, don't you dare freaking take Robin from us. Because basically after that moment, they're like, we cannot let this shit happen again. We are not letting Robin leave the crew on her own volition because she wants to keep us safe. No, we're going to be the ones to keep Robin safe. So I do like those moments and everything. So that's basically the thing. Now, episode 1106 ends off actually outside the world, and we go to the World Economic Journal, where we see obviously Big News Morgan. He's talking about the whole fact that Vegapunk is being hunted after the government, and he's like, well, the government's going after Vegapunk to kill him, but the thing is, you know, Strahd's Luffy's holding him hostage. We can, if the government ends up killing Vegapunk, we can actually frame it that Luffy was the one that killed Vegapunk, and we could still be in good standings with the world government. Oh, that's just a great masterpiece. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. And then lo and behold, we hear a voice just say, please, Luffy would never do that, and why would you tell such a stupid lie? Next thing you know, Vivi is right then and there in the World Economic Journal on Morgan's airship, along with Wapol. So the fact that we now know where Vivi's at. Vivi, who we know from what was happening earlier outside the world, we found out that she was missing. She's gone. She is now revealed to be with Big News Morgan. Now, how she is with Big News Morgan, I guess that will be explained at a later point in time. But Wapol's also there too, and we know the history between Vivi and Wapol is not really much liked by Vivi. So how is he there too? We'll find out. But Wapol's kind of like, Vivi, listen, chill. We can't. What if there's some government spy here or something like that, and they hear us and everything? They'll kill us. It'll be the end of the day. So I don't know. Clearly, maybe Vivi and Wapol did something that might have upset the world government. And clearly Wapol's on eggshells. Because, okay, listen. what the hell's going on? So that's kind of thing. Now, Big News Morgan is like, listen. Wasn't your ass crying for me to bring you aboard? Why are you trying to order me around about these news things and stuff like that? And Vivi's just like, listen, Luffy would never do that, and trust and believe. I don't like you telling these foolish lies. Because look, she knows Luffy. She knows Luffy would not hold Vegapunk hostage. And she knows that, okay, you know, this is what the World Economic Journal does. They just print false stories. And basically, you know, Yavador Vivi's like, I used to read you guys, now I don't want nothing to do with you guys. So that's basically where we're left off on that cliffhanger for that. So that's the thing. And then we don't even cut back to what's going on with Vivi and things like that, or getting an understanding. We don't even see her in the episode. But going into episode 1007, this thing, when things kind of go from bad to worse, you know, all you just have to where the Straw Hats are looking around for Dr. Vegapunk, but they kind of run into their own issues along the way. Pythagoras, he ends up getting exploded, and there's these other explosions happening. And you just have it to where this individual is going around, taking out the camera snails, and basically have it to where, like, at one point, like, the communication lines is also being disabled because Luffy is contacting Nami, which I also forgot to mention. Zoro is there, and as they're splitting into teams, it's funny because Sanji's like, look, listen, Moss said, you need to stay your ass here because nobody's going to look for you. But Zoro's like, but I'm trying to go look for Vegapunk. And Sanji's like, listen, the problem is you go out there and you go look. Well, then shit, we got to be looking for you. So no, you stay your ass here. And it's funny because when Nami calls Luffy, she's like, hey, is Zoro still there? And he's like, yeah, he's still here. It's gotten to the point where the Straw Hats know, like, all right, Zoro cannot be walking alone unless he is watched by somebody in our crew, because this man will get lost, and then next thing you know, what to be looking for his ass, and we don't got time for that shit, which I found absolutely hilarious. But you know, communication lines get cut because Nami and Luffy were talking to each other, and the communication line goes away. So then Luffy goes over to Shaka, and he's like, dude, I can't contact Nami. And he's like, look, man, I ain't trying to pay anything. I didn't break it. And Shaka's like, dude, I know you didn't break it. It's literally the cameras are shutting down, and somebody's apparently shutting down the cameras. You just see the cameras going to a black screen or a yellow screen, and basically the camera feed's done. You know, when they're all being taken out, and Luffy's like, what the hell's going on? And Shaka's like, clearly there's somebody else in here. Who that person is, we don't know, but we kind of get a feeling on who it obviously is at the end of the episode. Now, you do kind of get a funny moment. You do kind of get funny moments. Nami comes across like these man-made diamonds, and she legitimately takes a huge-ass bag of, or tried to take a huge-ass bag of diamonds. She's like, all right, hey, can we head back now? And then Edison's like, Ninja, come on now. We're trying to look for the Stella. And then it's funny because he's like, can we, Stella, where are you? These people are fucking crazy. Edison is absolutely losing it because eventually, because he's questioning Nami's eyes, because her eyes goes into the eyes of the berries, like how Sanji's eyes turns into hearts when he sees a beautiful woman. But it's absolutely crazy that this man, Edison, is legitimately losing it over Nami alone. She's like, these people are get crazy. I need to can we find you so that you can get out of here and you can leave, man. And Edison's probably rethinking, like, I don't know if he should go with the Straw Hats. Like, these people crazy. So that's the thing. Now you have it over Pythagoras. He's walking. He ends up getting exploded after seeing something. But eventually, when Usopp's group he's in catches up, you see that, well, actually he shrunk he looks headless, and it's like, oh crap, he's dead. But in reality, his head, I guess since he's a robot, he can move his head around like that. So because of that, excuse me, oh man, I'm a little bit exhausted. He's able to move around, and he's not dead and everything. Atlas and Robin and Chopper's group, they look at they find like man-made organs and things like that. It's crazy. That was the other group. So that's kind of the thing. And then lastly, getting back to Usopp and Frankie's group, York sees something in the distance, and the next thing you know, she sees the Boa Hancock Seraphim, and and York is like, "Oh, you're so cute, you're so adorable. I could almost eat you up like a gumdrop." Not really saying that, but you get my mean. And the next thing you know, you have it. You have it to where like York is like, "Hey, what are you doing around here, walking around and doing all these things? You know, I thought the Vegapunks told you not to do." But the Boa Hancock Seraphim turns York into stone and uses her Mera no Mi powers. And yeah, you kind of get left off a cliffhanger. The fact that for some odd reason, the Seraphims are attacking. Who sent out the hit? Because really, it's like, wait, the only people that could be higher in terms of the rankings, other than the Vegapunks, is the Elders, the Gorosei. Now we know one of them's on the way. Now, did he have some sort of transponder snail speaker to where he told the Seraphim what to do? Don't know. But clearly somebody's there. And the Seraphim are turning on the heroes, or turning on the Strats and the Vegapunks, and the Vegapunks have no clue or no idea why they're doing this. Now, we do know that the Seraphims, in a weird way, somewhat have their own, have their own free will. Because we saw when CP0 came up, they ended up also coming up before the Frontier Dome went back and shut off, essentially, in terms of, all right, they're protected now, and they just came up in their own free will. So is the Seraphims now finally acting on their own free will now? Are they just like, all right, we're sick and tired of being commanded by these people. Let's go do what we need to go do. And what, are we getting a Terminator situation here? When finally the robots are actually making their own moves, and they got sentience and they got their own intelligence and things like that. Well, I guess that will probably be explained in next week's episode if you saw the next episode preview, but that's basically it. But anyways, solid episodes of One Piece. And that's it. So again, if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on these last 2 episodes of One Piece, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more One Piece content or any other anime content I upload to the channel. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day, night, or watching this video. Till then, guys, peace.